This is RiverTalks with Jonathan Brush, President and CEO of Unbound.
Half the reason people have podcasts is so they can get on a platform and talk about their pet peeves, and I'm no exception to that rule. So today, we're going to talk about one of my pet peeves, and this is a big one. My pet peeve is the amount of people that tell other folks, particularly young people, that the way to have a fulfilling and useful life is to find their purpose. And it's not so much that I disagree with that, because I think there's a lot of truth to that statement. It's that the definition of purpose, I think, is completely messed up. And it really drives me crazy, because here's what happens. When people say you need to find your purpose, what they generally mean is you need to find some sort of vocational aspiration that changes the world, makes you a boatload of money, as much fun as going on vacation every day. And when you find that, all those things will happen. You'll make a boatload of money, you'll change the world, and every day will feel like a vacation. Well, first of all, there's so many myths in that, I don't even know where to get started. But secondly, the problem is that most people haven't the foggiest idea what that kind of purpose would be. And they don't know how to find it. And so they sort of treat purpose like it's this hidden treasure. And Christians are really bad about this. Christians are like, you need to find your purpose. And the way they talk about it is like God took your purpose and it hid it somewhere deep inside your mind or your heart in such a way that your entire job is to find out what that is. And when you find out what that is, it's going to be like heaven on earth, because you're going to be able to change the world, bring glory to God. It's going to be so much fun, and you're going to be financially successful all at once. And people say this sometimes implicitly, but often they say it sort of under the surface. Like that's they say it specifically, but they also imply it all the time, right? That they kind of have this whole idea that, that's what you're supposed to do, young person. If you're going to be a real Christian, if you're really going to make an impact for the kingdom, you've got to find your purpose. And this is complicated by the fact that there's anomalies running around out there. Well, what's an anomaly? Well, anomaly is that person, that young person or older person who is doing something that perhaps makes them a lot of money, makes a significant difference in the world, and from the outside at least, looks like having a vacation every day. I'm not saying that those people don't exist, although I suspect that not every day looks like a vacation. It probably took them a lot longer to get there than they're admitting. But what I am telling you is that they're unusual. They're anomalies. They're not common. They're the exception to the rule. So if you're an anomaly, well, bully for you. That's fantastic. That's a gift from God, and you should take it and run with it and stop listening to the rest of this podcast. But if you're not an anomaly, well, welcome to the rest of humanity. That's the way it works for most of us. And don't be surprised by that. Don't be shocked about that. And most of all, don't be in despair about that. In fact, you have an exciting journey of exploration in front of you. And I would agree that in order to have a purposeful, meaningful life, you're going to have to, or a useful, meaningful life, you're going to have to know your purpose. The difference is, as a Christian, I don't think your purpose is some hidden, secretive thing that you got to find by a lot of internal navel gazing or even Bible study and finding mentors and doing internships. I think as a Christian, your purpose is spelled out pretty implicitly, I got those words mixed up the whole way through this thing. I think your purpose is spelled out pretty specifically. In fact, Jesus says it's the greatest commandment. When he's asked, how do I boil everything down and what do I pay attention to most? He says in Matthew and he says in Mark, the greatest commandment is this, to love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, and soul, and your neighbor as yourself. In other words, you are to love God and do his work. Well, to love God means to know him, to obey his commands, and to do his work sends us right back to the early verses of Genesis, which is to tend the garden. What does it mean to tend the garden? Well, to tend the garden means to do the kinds of things that steward well the resources you have been given, that lead to human flourishing, that blesses and serves the other people around you. In other words, anything that you do that brings value to other people is tend the garden work. Now, if you're called to set apart ministry as a pastor or a missionary or something like that, that's fantastic. That is a noble and high calling, and you should absolutely pursue that. But you should also know that to serve God is defined by anything that is tend the garden work. That means that anything that you do that leads to human flourishing, that blesses and serves others, that creates value for other people is by definition God honoring and God serving work. Now, the work that you do is going to change probably dramatically throughout the course of your life. You'll do different things at different times. Sometimes you will do things that seem like they're more aligned with some sort of mission or ministry type thing. And other times you will do something that creates value for other people that enables you to then do ministry work, more specifically through your church or through other ways. The point is that there's not just one thing that you're going to do. You're made in God's image. That means to some extent, there's an infinite amount of creativity and an infinite amount of way to create value in God's kingdom. And He's given you ability to figure out some of those and apply them. And as you grow and as you meet new people, as you experience more things in the world, as you build your skills and learn new things, you're going to find new ways and different ways to serve God. So finding your purpose isn't about finding this one golden thing that you're going to do that just changes everything. Finding your purpose is different than finding. It's owning your purpose. You know what your purpose is: to love Lord your God with all your heart, mind, and soul, and your neighbor as yourself. The question is, will you accept full responsibility for that mission? And then will you use that purpose to refine and to decide and to distinguish and to discern the opportunities that are in front of you every day to build skill and to gain experience? And that by following your purpose, you will have a way to sort those things out, do the things that ultimately glorify God, obey His commands, and help and serve those you come in contact with who are made in His image. If you do that, you'll be living out your purpose, no matter what you do, and you will indeed have a meaningful and useful life.